The following video will show you how I gathered sheet metal at local recycling locations throughout Andover and Wilmot, New London, New Hampshire, and fabricated a heat shield and a evaporator arch for my sugar house. And here you see some sheet metal on the floor, workbench, and my welder. What you see here is the fabrication beginning to the heat shield to the evaporator arch. The heat shield for my sugar house stove is almost completed. It's 30 inches high. It's going to be 45 inches long and 2 feet wide. And I'm still designing. I've got my stove that's going to sit down inside of it with an inch of spare on all the way around. And it will have a 1/4-inch iron top to it. I've cut up some old stove that I had, and now I've got to extend it. And eventually we're getting there. Over here on this side, you see where we got it blocked up. We still have to get more sheet metal. I've got some of it, and the opening of the door. Well, we're still coming along. We didn't get any more metal, so I'm working with what I've got right now. Went to the dump, didn't find any, so I'm piecemealing it together, one piece at a time. Been working on my evaporator arch. It's upside down on the floor now. You see I still need 1/8-inch sheet metal for the side, and I need a 1/4-inch sheet metal for the top of the stove, which is on the floor there now. Also, the heat shield is coming along real fine, and got to go to the dump. Got to find me some more sheet metal. I've found the rest of the 1/4-inch steel plate for the top and got that welded into place now for my evaporator arch. And patchwork of the little pieces to make it all work. We'll get it all welded eventually and sanded down. Now I'm going to fill in the hole of the old stovepipe because we're going to have the stovepipe coming out the back here. And that's what we're working on now. Well, I've got the 6-inch stovepipe adapter welded into place now, and the top of the stove all filled in and welded in 1/4-inch steel, and the heat shield is completed now pretty much, and I have it filled on the bottom of it with the stove brick, fire brick, and we're going to put the stove inside of it now and mark exactly where the pipe elbow will go out through. I don't know how unique it is, but my stove that I'm building has no bottom to it because it is going over here eventually, and it will fit into this heat shield, which on the bottom will be covered with a fire brick, and it will be attached to this heat shield, hopefully securely enough that it can all be moved at one time. If not, I'll have to move this heat shield and the bricks over to the sugar house and then bring the stove in and bolt it. The stove has a rim all the way around it, and the heat shield has a rim where they're going to bolt together. It will bolt at the bottom, and we'll see when it's done. Now I've got my stove upside down. I've got some fire bricks in there for spacing, and I've got a little bit of sheet metal in there, giving me some idea about the baffle system. So it looks like I've got to make a trip to the couple of the dumps today and see if I can't find some more sheet metal. I'm out of sheet metal for making the baffle system. My hole is cut now for my stovepipe to go out through the heat shield. I was able to find one piece of sheet metal that I could use for the baffle, and I've got that welded into place, and now I got the supports in for one more piece of sheet metal that I need to finish the baffle system. And then I'll be able to mount it into the heat shield, and then we'll get her turned over and work on a couple more things like the damper system. The evaporator arch didn't fit in the heat shield quite as well as I expected. It did fit like a glove, but I had to cut open the stovepipe area in order to get it in and clamped together. And now I'm getting ready to spot weld it instead of bolting it to the heat shield. But outside of that, I'm very satisfied. Well, my stove is all done. I've got my screen in there, my air vent, my doors on. Just installed a nice stainless steel damper on my stove, and it should work real fine. Set it any height I want, all the way up to wide open. Depends upon how much air I need, and it's all a test. We're certainly able to put it part way. It's a nice hinge system. Oh, we just finished grinding the top, and I got the shop as dark as I could, and I put a light inside. It's rather impressive looking stove, if I say so myself. And now I guess I'll put the elbow pipe on the back here and then turn the light on and see how that looks. There we go. We got our 90-degree elbow on there. Before I can take my new evaporator arch up to the sugar house, I had to go up and pull out my old evaporator arch, which I made out of 3 bathtubs. And it finally melted and gave out on me, as you can see, in pretty rough shape, but it worked for 12 years. Now that I've got the old evaporator arch pulled out, I've got to pull out the sheet metal and smooth out the sand, level it up, and get ready to put the new evaporator arch in. Well, I've got the site just about level now with the new evaporator arch is going to be placed. We're all loaded, ready to take her up to the little sugar shack. We're at the sugar shack, and I've got it turned around pretty much like it's going to go in. We'll have to turn a little bit. I'll have to wait for my honey bunny Donna to get up here to help me, but I'll get it inside close right now. Okay, Donna's got it right off the point, so I'm going to lower it down a little bit more. We're getting there. Hold it right there. All right, can you unhook the chain from the bucket? You got it? Okay, I'm going to raise the bucket. That is going to be so beautiful. Okay. Oh, honey, that is so level. I couldn't have done better myself. Here we go. All finished with my external stovepipe out from my little cupola there. So get the fire brick in the stove, and I'll be ready to fire it up for a test.
Okay.
And we showed you the stovepipe, I believe, on the other video on the inside. And there we go with the 3 pans on top of it. And now all we have to do is the inside of it, the floor, because I built this with no floor in the stove. And the floor is going to be the fire brick, which becomes part of the heat shield, which is on both sides of the stove is a heat shield. And hopefully this design will work, and we shall know in today or tomorrow. But getting my evaporator arch fired up, that I forgot to take a picture of the fire brick when I got it all installed. But it's looking good, and we got kindling and some little larger pieces, so let's see what happens. We fire it up. That sure is a good looking flame. The baffle system seems to be working, and we got smoke coming out of the smokestack, so all is well. Can't wait for sugar season in 2024.